Hello everyone, and welcome to the SARA Tundra Super Sim Series presented by Loco Toco Designs. We're at Stafford Motor Speedway tonight for the Oldskoolz Motorsports 150 for 150 laps of super late model action. Before we get into tonight's race, I would like to discuss last week's race because this week's race has tons of points implications to it. So last week's race was at Milwaukee Mile at back 40 Grabs Inc. 100, and Tim Bills was your pole winner for that race, but we seen Joe Schaefer Jr. take over pretty early as he led 75 laps and came away with the victory for his 41st career SARA win. Now he did gain some points on the Tundra Super Sim Series point leader in Jimmy Mullis, but Jimmy Mullis did great damage control last week, coming away in second place. Third place was the old Wiley vet and Ty Spearman. Fourth was Bill Martin, and rounding out your top five was Keith Medeiros. Now last week, the hard charger was Matt Rolfe, as we've seen him make his way up through the field with a great finish, and Michael Goodard also at plus 10 positions. Now, like I said, your points leader is Jimmy Mullis, and he is leading Joe Schaefer Jr. about 25 points here tonight, and it is really between those two guys to settle out to see who will be your 2018 Tundra Super Sim Super Late Model Series champion. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here tonight at Stafford Motor Speedway. But before we get into tonight's festivities, we'll go ahead and see if we can get a hold of our league and series admin, Matt Rolfe, see what he can put his 2 cents in on this championship battle between Jimmy Mullis and Joe Schaefer Jr. Matt, thanks for joining us up here in the booth here tonight. I appreciate you taking some time out from getting some practice in here, and I won't keep you too long, but like I stated, we got Jimmy Mullis and Joe Schaefer Jr. is pretty much the only two guys left that potentially can win this championship here. So like I said, we're at Stafford, so how do you see things playing out here tonight?
Yeah, thanks for having me in here. It should be an interesting race. You know, we saw last week Joe got his first win of the season finally, which took him longer than I'm sure he wanted and longer than we expected him to take to get his first win. And Jimmy Mullis has been strong all season. I think he's up to 3 wins now, so he's got the edge there, and he's leading the points by about 25 or so right now. But we heard last week Jimmy Mullis has never run this track, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly he can adapt to it and how good his setup is adapting to the track throughout the long run, whereas Joe's been here quite a few times. So should be interesting to see that dynamic of it. And then I don't know if you've mentioned it yet, but I sent you a little stat before the race here, and Ty Majeski has raced here 8 times in SARA and has never lost. So could be watching him drive to the front while the rest of the guys are out battling behind him for the championship, but we'll definitely see how that plays out.
Yes, we will. I have not mentioned that as of yet. I had it up on my screen to talk about here in just a second. So you beat me to the punch, which is quite all right. Tom Majeski was our pole sitter here tonight, and we do have a 8-car invert. So we'll see Ty Spearman on the pole instead of Tom Majeski. But currently, let's talk about you right now. You had a pretty good qualifying run. You qualified 6th. I know that we were working on setup. As far as me, you, and Jared, and I think Darryl was helping out as well. So how do you feel about your race set here tonight?
I think it's going to be pretty good. You know, normally this track really blackens up in the main groove to the point where it gets a little bit slick, so I don't know if you'll really see an outside groove. Guys might move up half the lane, but as you know, I usually end up running down a lane lower here, kind of running on the apron, using the apron quite a bit. So I think the setup we've been working on is pretty good overall. I think I've tightened it up enough so if we do have to run the apron, it won't get loose too bad, hopefully. Hopefully we can save tires till the end of the race. But I think that's going to be interesting to see for everybody tonight, is where the groove ends up moving around if that track does indeed blacken up like it normally does here.
All right, well, I appreciate you coming in here, and I'll let you get back out on track, maybe get a couple more practice laps in. But before I do that, is there any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give?
I just got to thank you guys for doing the broadcast once again, and then the big sponsors for the night, Tundra Super Late Models, Loco Toco Designs, and tonight's sponsor, Oldskoolz Motorsports.
All right, well, good luck to you tonight.
Thanks.
That was our Series League admin, Matt Rolfe. Like I said, he's qualified 6th here tonight due to the invert. He will be starting 3rd behind Tyler Spearman, so we'll have to keep an eye out for him and see how that setup plays out for him, and see if that team has found any speed. We'll go ahead and bring up our series sponsors here to show more of them, because without these guys, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. Like I said, it's with the Tundra Super Late Models, Loco Toco Designs, Midwest Power Source, Hides Pride's Leather and Sheepskin, Callaway Investments, who sponsors our Street Stock series, Epic Media, our Insurance Options, Back 40 Rats Inc., who sponsored last week's race, Down East Chassis Works, Oldskoolz Motorsports, Dr. Noise, Area 52 Designs, Midwest Race Updates, and Dynamic Auto Sports. We'll go ahead and bring up the standings here as well. That way everyone get a good look at what the standings look like, because it is pretty close even for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, as Jimmy Mullis is leading the way with 700 points even. Joe Schaefer Jr. 25 behind him. He's going to need a hard charge here late in this season, 2 races to go. See if he can maybe come away with his 4th consecutive championship. 3rd is David Kikorian. 4th, Zach Novak. 5th, Tim Bills. 7th, Ryan Matthews, or 6th, Ryan Matthews. 7th, Matt Rolfe. 8th, Ty Spearman. 9th, Michael Goddard. And round out your top 10 in the points is Keith Medeiros. As the everyone appears to be gridding up here, we'll go ahead and bring up your starting lineup so that we can see how this field is going to start tonight's race. Like I said, there was an 8-car invert, so Ty Spearman will be starting on the pole. Outside of him, we'll be calling Allman. Starting 3rd here tonight is Matt Rolfe, who we just spoke with. 4th is Justin Trombley. 5th is your series points leader in Jimmy Mullis. 6th is Tim Bills. 7th is Ty Majeski, and as Matt Rolfe stated, Ty Majeski has never lost here in any car that he's driven here, which would be a street stock, the Pro Late Models, and the SK Modified, and of course the Super Late Models. The last time they raced here was back in September 2017, so obviously setups and everything else has changed since then, so we'll have to see how he plays out tonight. 8th is David Kikorian. 9th, Andrew Wooden. Round out your top 10 is guy in 2nd in points in Joe Schaefer Jr. 11th is Jared Boris. 12th, Ryan Matthews. 13th, Daryl Hamlin. 14th, Ken Morin. 15th, Brandon Wilkinson. 16th, Zach Novak. 17th, Keith Medeiros. 18th, Dallas Pataska. 19th, Matt Eddy. And rounding out your top 20 is Kyle Souza. As we'll go ahead and scroll to the other side of the page, and you can see the rest of the lineup here. Stacked field here tonight, so like I stated, every week these are some of your top, best sim racers, period, on the iRacing sim. You get these guys in the super late models, they become that much better. I believe last week the average I rating for our field last week was right around 4,700, which is really good. You know, this is a league. This isn't your official races where some of those can get stacked up. So like I said, super tough here tonight. But like I said, we got 150 laps of super late model action. As the pace car pulls off, Ty Spearman will be leading the field to green, as the green control is on him, and he is green, green, green. Go down into turn 1 and 2. Field's going to try to find their way, maybe work their way into single file, not keep it double file too long. Go down into 3 and 4 here. We're about to complete lap 1. It looks like we're going to get away with lap 1 clean. Ty Spearman's coming down to lead lap 2, coming to lap 3 early on as we're single file 1 through 10. Like it's getting some double file action back here by Joe Schaefer Jr. and Tim Bills. Everyone's going to be fighting to get down low early on. But once again, as Matt Rolfe stated, as this track gets worked in down low, you're going to have guys that are going to be running way down on the apron close to the yellow line, or maybe even moving up another lane or so. There are no tires here tonight. So you have to run the same set of tires that you started on. So you may see some guys take their time. Speaking with the T4X guys, I believe a lot of them are going to be patient here. They try to slowly work their way up through the field if the cars are capable of doing so. Currently, it looks like that's happening. We'll go back here to the Keith Medeiros in the 60 car. He's got Zach Novak on him and Ron Matthews fighting on the outside. Matthews is just trying to find a place in, which he might do right here in front of Matt Eddy, and he does so. He pulls down. So that's, if you're him, that's what you want to see, is Zach Novak's working over Keith Medeiros now for 14th spot. As Zach Novak's going to go down to turn 3 and take that spot. So Zach Novak's working his way back up to the front here. If you started on the outside, most likely you lost a handful of positions unless you got lucky and got down early. Like I said, it's really, you want to fight to get down to the bottom here, as it looks like the field has kind of strung out and everyone's starting to get their feet underneath them. Right now, we're going to go up here to Jimmy Mullis. This is his first time racing here. He's your series points leader, and he did qualify in the 3rd spot with the invert. He started 6th, and as you can tell, he's done worked his way up to 3rd, so he's got a good piece under him tonight, as he's got Tom Majeski behind him. But we'll be able to see what he has here, as you got probably the fastest guy that's been here behind him. See what he has early on, if he's able to hold off or pull away from Tom Majeski. Now, last week, Tom Majeski did try to qualify for the Milwaukee race, and he had some unfortunate luck on his side during qualifying. Wasn't able to make a qualifying lap. Tonight, he wasted no time and went up to the top of the board and pretty much beat the field by 1/10 of a second. So he's got something good underneath him for sure. Right now, Mullis is holding his own right for 3rd. You'll have to pay attention to some of these guys, as some of them, if depending on how the car's handling, they may go down on the apron and halfway onto the track as well. And they'll get those tires just below that white line. If the car's tight, it'll help de-wedge the car and help it turn, especially into the on the entry or indoor center where they're at. Now, if you can run that line coming off the turn, then you have a really good piece underneath you, because you got good drive off and you can pretty much put it wherever you want. Super challenging here, especially with the track temperature being up to 102 degrees here. Currently, Ty Spearman still leading the way after getting the invert. It's around lap 14 and 150, still early. Looks like Tom Majeski's now starting to work over Jimmy Mullis for 3rd, wanting the position. Right now, Majeski's just filling up the rearview mirror of Mullis. Before too long, Mullis is just going to give it to him. More likely, you don't need anything to happen to ruin your night here, as you have a close points battle with Joe Schaefer Jr. As Majeski's looking low, and there he goes. Just lets him go. Smart move by Jimmy Mullis early on. Majeski was all over his rear end wanting to get around him, so just let him go. That's not your battle. Your battle is the points championship. He has 3 wins on the season. There's nothing more to prove. Just lock some laps, get us some solid runs, solid finishes, especially if you can finish in front of Joe Schaefer Jr. You'll be well on your way to your championship. Beginning of this run starting to look like it has a green flag run to it, which is good here. And it's good to see here for a short track. These guys are getting spread out and you know, able to race each other really clean, really well, giving plenty of room. Go back here to your second guy in points, Joe Schaefer Jr. Right now he's P9. He's got David Kikorian in front of him and Tim Bills behind him. Now, due to the invert, Joe Schaefer started 5th. So he had an inside position and he fell back there early on. Not too sure if something happened. But right now he's not exactly where he wants to be, but it's still early. And as we seen last week, whenever he pretty much dominated that Milwaukee race, If Joe gets even a sniff of the lead, or if he thinks he has a good piece, he'll go to the front and he'll stay there. Go back here to the 71 car of Matt Bontippy. Matt and Dallas and Michael Goodard are having a good battle here for the 20th spot. Best action you got on the track here currently with these three cars. See Matt going down low, and you see a couple guys already working their way up. It's Michael Goodard's up there in the second group and made that work. Got around Matt there. Back up front here to Colin Allman, and Tom Majeski's right behind him. Majeski is working his way back up to the front. It can't be stated enough to say that he is undefeated here in the Sim Auto Racing Association. Anyways, caught up to Colin Allman here fairly quick for second place. He'll be looking to get around him pretty quick and then catching up to his teammate and Ty Spearman. They go down into 3 and 4 here. Majeski's showing his nose. You see him there on the apron. There can be some extra grip. Hard to get the drive off, which he got. It's down low, and he is there. So they go side by side into 1 and 2. Majeski moves him up just a little bit. Still side by side, going down the back, going back down into 3 and 4. I think this is a good point to show that Colin's able to hold on the outside. There's a little bit of grip up there as the bottom's starting to lose a little bit. And warm up as Colin pulls Ty right back down the straightaway again. This is going to allow Jimmy Mullis to catch them both. Colin Allman's fighting for this. He didn't want to give up the second place spot. Majeski gets a little bit of loose out of 4. Like I stated, if you're down on the apron, that's where it can get you. Car can break loose as Allman scrapes the wall on the outside. And there's some bumps entering in 3 and 4 as well, so depending on how your setup is, if you can't get over those bumps, it can really upset the car. Get bottom it out pretty good, make the car push up. So you may see if Majeski does it here again. He stays just a little bit below it, but you can get on that apron and just completely avoid them altogether potentially. But Allman held strong on the outside as he moves back down low. It won't take long for other cars to take notice of this, and guys will start moving up the track, try to find some time. Usually the best one, or one of the first ones to do that, is David Krikorian. But right now we're watching Colin Allman and Ty Majeski as these two guys are still battling out for second place. Majeski just can't get the drive off that he's needing right now. Maybe being a little bit patient, just doing what he did to Jimmy Mullis and filling up his rear view. And there he goes down low once again. Pretty tight there in the middle of the turn. They make it work. Still can't complete the pass, but we will still keep fighting. Allman still holding strong. This is impressive. As it gets really wide there on the entry of 3. Able to bring it back in. Great run down the straightaway and clears him. There goes Majeski down to the apron, moves up just a little bit, maybe just enough to interrupt Colin. There's a dead heat at the stripe per second. Now he's going to go do it. Yeah, nice. Threw it down into 1 and 2. Following him with a crossover, we'll be able to see how well Majeski's car works on the outside and how well Allman's works on the inside here. They're still side by side. Jeske throws it down into turn 1. Now he's going to finally get him cleared to see if he can pull away from him a little bit and get back into his rhythm. But that was a great side-by-side battle there between those two guys. Gave each other plenty of room, and that's how you race. That's what we like to see here in the Sim Auto Racing Association. Currently, Ty Spearman has a 1.5 second lead over Ty Majeski, so we'll see if that gap ends up closing down or spreading apart here a little bit. Over these next few laps, really be able to tell how quick Ty Majeski is, as he runs a full 10th faster than Ty Spearman that last lap.
All right, man, caution is out.
Looks like we got our first caution of the night. See if we can figure out who it was. Maybe in the 81 car of Ken Morin. See what happened here with Ken Morin. No, it wasn't him. When him, it was the 61 car. So sorry about that, Ken. 61 car of James Millenbacher. Just looking at that replay real quick, it looks like it was just a little chain reaction getting down into 3. A little nose to tail bumper reaction, and he just got turned. It's a tough break there for him. I don't think he got too much damage from it. Nope, no one hit him, so he should be good to go there, and he'll just get back in line and hopefully work his way back up into the top 20. But that was the first caution of the night. Ty Spearman has led the whole way, all 41 of 150 laps, as he also has the fastest lap here tonight so far, which will probably remain that way. Currently second is Ty Majeski, third is Colin Allman, fourth is Jimmy Mullis, and round out your top 5 is Andrew Wooden. Down 6th spot is Joe Schaefer Jr. He's worked his way back up to 6th. Last time we seen him, he was in 9th place. So he has worked his way back up here, and it'll be interesting to see if he's able to get around these next couple guys in front of him, especially Jimmy Mullis, as those two guys are battling out for the top spot in the point series. Like we got one to go here. Ty Spearman will be leading them back to green. Once the pace car pulls off, the restart will be on him. So we'll see what kind of restart he gets, and then what we really need to pay attention to is the restart that Colin Allman gets. See if he keeps Ty Majeski out there on the outside. If he does that, it could create some interesting racing there for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. As the pace car does pull off. We are green, green, green. As both ties get a great restart here. We'll see if Majeski gives up, tries to fight Spearman. He's not. He's looking like he's going to pull down into 2nd place. As both of them, that's the most ideal restart that you're going to have, being that they are teammates. They both are part of the posse, in case anyone did not know. They're probably on their team speak together and let each other know when they're about to go green. So that worked out great for them. As Allman and Mullis and Schaefer are battling it out there for 3rd. Also stuck on the outside, and if you're Joe Schaefer Jr., this is what you want to see. If this bottom lane came back in since the restart. Like I said, this is Mullis' first race here, so he doesn't know what to expect with the track. If it widens out or exactly what the groove would do. Currently, he's doing well for himself, but right now he's the odd man out as he's on the outside, and Allman's trying to get around him here for 3rd. Schaefer Jr. is going to shove it in there. If you're Joe, all the pressure's off of you. Everything's on Mullis right now. You got to put all the pressure on Mullis. You're the one in attack mode, and he's the one that's got to play defense. Mullis scrapes the wall just a little bit coming out of 4. Oh, that got tight there out of 2. As Joe maybe cut Jimmy a break. And Jimmy gets into Colin. Colin gets loose on the entry. Collects it up. Great save by Colin Allman. We'll see if that hurts his tires or not here early on, as the right rear can get pretty mad pretty quickly if you slide these cars around too much. Jimmy Mullis and Allman are side by side going back down the backstretch. Great side-by-side racing for the 3rd spot. What this is doing is allowing the guys in 6th, 7th, and 8th, 9th catch up to these guys. So you're about to throw a blanket over 6, 7 cars. As you see, both the right sides of those cars are beat up there a little bit as they've collected the wall, most likely out of 4. A couple of times, as Allman has shown here tonight, that he's strong on the outside as we're a third of the way through. Going back up front here real quick. Looks like that Ty Majeski is going to work over Ty Spearman. Both these guys are teammates. They're going to give each other plenty of room. Doubt Spearman fights him too hard as Majeski has worked his way up here to the top spot. Looks like we got a pass for the lead. You have a new leader yet officially at the line? Officially, the 91, Ty Majeski, is your new leader here at lap 52 of 150. Probably going to try to pull away a little bit. We'll go back to Colin Allman as Allman just gets into the wall on the outside. I'm not sure if he had too much help as we were watching that battle for the lead. Now you have Schaefer Jr. and Mullis in 3rd and 4th. Zach Novak's directly behind them. Colin Allman's had a rough go of it, been stuck on the outside what it feels like all race. And he's done extremely well out there, but has that taken a toll on his car and tires? Seems like it has as he's going backwards here. Zach Novak's on the inside of Allman. Andrew Wooten's going to look like he's going to try to make his way past him as well. And there's Matt Rolfe, as we spoke to him earlier, working his way back up into the top 10. As Allman's going to pull down, looks like something's wrong with this car. Take it into the pits. It's a tough break for Colin Allman. He was running extremely well here tonight. Had a really good qualifying run as he qualified 7th, but due to the invert, started 2nd. And he's going to go in the pits and have the team look it over. We'll go back to Jimmy Mullis as these are the top 2 guys in the points. Jimmy Mullis and Joe Schaefer Jr. Joe Schaefer Jr., you're going to look to put the pressure on and get around Jimmy Mullis. Make his life hell. Maybe even let you give you the spot because you got points to make up. Looking at Matt Rolfe here, he's trying to work over Andrew Wooten to get around him to come up to 6th. Matt started 3rd here tonight. Ended up working his way back just a little bit after the invert. And trying to work his way back up to the front. He's looking low and he's working the apron. And like I stated, there can be some grip down there. When I would run here, that's where I would try to run as he does pass Andrew getting into 3. Where I would try to run. It just seemed like it worked out better for me. And it seems like it's working really good for Matt as well. He's worked his way up to 6. Going to try to attack Zach Novak here for a top 5. Looking further back here into the field at Drew Kryback. Drew Kryback and Matthew Eddy are having a heck of a battle here. Trying to get into the top 15 as Matt Eddy's in 15th right now. Drew's won that spot. And you got Michael Goddard back there. Kyle Souza, who's generally quick. Having a little bit of an off night, what it seemed like to be for him. Got a couple guys back here in the back that are still battling. We still currently have 26 cars on the lead lap. There were 29 that started here tonight, so the build is fast. The leaders aren't catching these guys too quickly, and we have good battles all over the track. As Michael Goddard gets a little bit sideways, looks like maybe Souza got into him a little bit, and Matt Bontevi is going to battle benefit from that portion of it. We'll go back up here to Jimmy Mullis once again, as Joe Schaefer Jr. is giving him all kinds of pressure, and Matt Rolfe has already caught up to these guys here once more. Like I said, he's running the apron. Finding a little time as Joe Schaefer Jr. looks down to the inside of Jimmy Mullis. Guys are 1 and 2 in points. Come off the turn side by side, giving each other plenty of room as they go down the back into 3. It looked like he was just a little bit loose, went out of 4. Seen swatting bees inside the car, but he gets him cleared in the middle of 1 and 2. So Joe Schaefer Jr. up to third place. Jimmy Mullis goes back down to the inside. It was super close. Joe tried to pinch him down. Jimmy wasn't having any of it. This is super hard racing here by these 2 guys, and 1 and 2 in points. As like I stated, Joe Schaefer Jr. doesn't have much to lose, as he has 25 points to gain in this race and next race, and that's all he got for Jimmy Mullis. May have to show some patience here. Just follow in behind Joe, as you don't mind losing a couple of points, but if you accidentally spin yourself out, or even Joe Schaefer Jr., you may find yourself losing a lot more points than what you would do just following in behind Joe. As Joe starts pulling away, and you see Matt Rolfe getting down to the inside of Zach Novak here for 5th place, as Matt goes almost into the dirt. There's DK David Kokorian behind Matt there in 7th. So you're starting to get some of the cream starting to rise to the top here, as the normal week-to-week fast guys are starting to work their way into the top 5, top 7 spots. Lap 170, or excuse me, lap 70 of 150. Tom Majewski's still your leader by 0.8 of a second. And then Joe Schaefer Jr. is 4 seconds off of Majewski. So those front 2 have kind of pulled away from the field. We still have a great battle going on here for 4th place. Matt looking down to the inside of Novak, just showing him the nose. Matt is on the rear of Novak. Novak's not going to let him go easy. He's going to make him earn it. It looks like Matt's just faster from center off right now, and that was one thing that we concentrated on as a team, was center off here, so you can get that drive, as the car likes to get loose late in runs here. Matt's going to look down to the inside again, down on the apron, as he's up to the door. Zach Novak, we'll see what he can do with him coming off of turn 2 as they go down into turn 3 side by side. Matt's still running the apron, but he's getting decent drive off as he gets a little bit of loose there. Still going to go throw down into turn 1 and 2 and hang with him, as DK's going to go up top. 3 cars battling for a top 5. Just out of the screen is Tim Bills and Andrew Wooten side by side, as well as Daryl Hamlin is right behind them in 10th. So you got a couple of battles just within the same shot of each other, as we have another caution. Not 100% sure who that was. Yeah, spotters aren't picking up anything as far as what happened on track. could have been one of those. Yeah, that's really interesting. It was like a debris caution or something, even though those aren't a real thing here. Something happened on track, and looks like everyone's pointing the right direction with no damage or anything. So, but here we are for our second caution. We've had 3 lead changes. Ty Spearman has led the most laps here tonight. Ty Majeski has led 28 laps here, and he is currently your leader as Ty Spearman led 50 of the 150 laps. Majeski's led the other 28. Currently they're 1-2 with Joe Schaefer Jr. in 3rd, Jimmy Mullis 4th, and Zach Novak in 5th. That's some posse, and I believe they're Dynamic Autosports group there, all in the top 5 with Matt Rolfe in 6th, DK in 7th, Andrew Wooten 8th, Tim Bills 9th, and Daryl Hamlin rounding out your top 10. Well, we got 2 to go here. Like I stated, this is the second to last week here for the Sim Auto Racing Association. Next week is the series finale. Actually, for the finale for the whole Sim Auto Racing Association, for all leagues or all series for this league, and we usually finish it up at Lanier. So we'll have all the guys here racing at Lanier next week, and you know, there's usually some really good racing that happens there, as that groove tends to get widened out as well. And we'll see what happens with Joe Schaefer Jr. and Jimmy Mullis here to see how close that points battle gets after this race as they start side by side on this restart. So we'll see how rough that they get with each other. If it was like anything else prior to this caution, they'll race each other pretty close. The restart is on Ty Majeski. We are green, green, green. Both Tys get a really good start. As you see Spearman go down to the inside here once more, and Jimmy Mullis is going to fill that high side. Schaefer's going to try to not let him do it, but here comes Mullis on the outside as he's getting a great restart. Maybe more grip on the outside of the track on this restart than maybe some of them thought. Mullis is making it happen here as he's battling second now for Ty Spearman. Spearman's going to clear him out of 2. Schaefer Jr. is going to try to fill that hole down on the inside. Going to try to get what you can here on this restart before they start fanning out and getting away. Going back down into 1 and 2 on lap 83. There's Matt Rolfe just behind Schaefer Jr. and Mullis. You got DK and Zach Novak just right there as well. So if any one of these guys slip, you got 3 guys that are more than willing to take over those positions. Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to clear Jimmy Mullis. Cut into that point lead just a little bit to go down the back. Jimmy Mullis is going to follow him, Schaefer Jr. and Rolfe. Because now you have posse members in 1, 2, 3. If you're Joe Schaefer Jr., that's what you want to see, is your teammates out in front and Jimmy Mullis behind you. That's the best case scenario. Ideally, you'd like Jimmy Mullis to be even further behind, as we still have a lot of laps left. We're only on lap 85 of 150. Go back here to Jared Boris, running 11th here tonight. Had a pretty good week so far in the other series, running well. Not too sure exactly where he started here tonight. Find that out, but he is doing extremely well. Working 11th, trying to get into 10th. And he started 11th here tonight, and he's still 11th. So at least, if anything, he's consistent. And I know he had a pretty good piece here tonight, as he's helped us out here at T4X with some setup work. It's paid dividends as he's running 11th, Daryl Hamlin's 9th, and Matt Rolfe is now like he's battling for 4th place up here with Jimmy Mullis. You got a couple of Will and Dylan guys up here in the top 10 too, so you got a few different teams filling up these top spots now. Where once before it was just a posse show and maybe Will and Dylan or Dynamic Auto Sports, you would have it hit and miss. Now you got them all spread apart as everyone's starting to catch up with each other on these setups. So Matt Rolfe takes over 4th spot. DK's trying to work. Got extremely close out of 4 there with Jimmy Mullis. David Corian's trying to get that 5th place spot. Is he's going to have him cleared? Nope. Jimmy Mullis is just let him go. Let him fill in. And if you're Joe Schaefer Jr., this is what you want to see. You're gaining on your teammate in front of you for 2nd, and Jimmy Mullis is going backwards. Everyone's starting to spread out just a little bit. Looking at Tim Bills here. We'll go check him out. We haven't talked much about him tonight. He was last week's pole winner. And then this week he actually started, he was 2nd fastest overall, and due to the invert, he ended up starting 7th. He's 8th currently. Trying to catch up to Zach Novak and Jimmy Mullis here. And there's Darnell Hamlin running 9th behind him. H&H sign number 7. Good run by Daryl. Having a nice run into the top 10. Trying to work his way even further up. Maybe even try to get into maybe a top 6 or 7 spot. We'll go back here to Michael Goddard. He's been side by side with Dallas Pataska. I'm pretty sure these two guys have been over each other the whole race. Probably feel like they can't get away from each other. And there's Kyle Souza just behind them. This is for the 16th spot. These guys are side by side. This is the best action you got on the track currently. Souza throws it down in there in 1 and 2. Makes up a little bit of ground, but loses it coming out. Guys are still side by side. Souza may even think about taking the 3 wide, which I highly doubt. As Goddard gets loose coming out of 4. Pay attention to those front wheels. You'll see them sawing back and forth. Maybe you can see the hands coming out of turn 2 here. Guys can be fighting the wheel, especially if they're starting to get ill-handling cars. Up here to Joe Schaefer Jr. as he's working over Ty Spearman. This is going to be more points in Joe's pocket if he can get around him. Don't want to look now as Matt Rolfe is right behind him, and they're running identical time, so Matt's not running him down per se. But you don't want to waste too much time or lose too much time just hanging out here behind your teammate, especially if you got a faster car than him. If you're Joe Schaefer Jr., you definitely want to go as Ty Spearman is directly in front of you, and Ty Majeski is still leading away by 1 1/4 seconds. Coming to lap 100 with 50 to go. Currently, it's just been a tie and tie show as Ty Spearman led the first 50 laps and Ty Majeski led the next 50. See how it ends up playing out for the last 50. See if anyone can come up there and change that tune a little bit. We'll go ahead and bring up the Russell Berry here. Talk about him for a second. It is Berry Trucking number 4. Currently in 20th. Had a great run in the UMP Modified this week, coming out with the top 5 finish. Good to see him do that. He was able to survive a few wrecks, a few accidents, and benefit from those, but he's still running good that whole night. Currently in the top 20. So it's good to see him out here running with us. Like I say, he's consistently one of those guys that puts in the time and does his best. usually is clean. Right now his car is all beat to hell, but he's making the most of it here for the 20th spot. One guy we haven't talked about much here tonight, maybe just a couple of times, is the 51 car of Ryan Matthews. Ryan Matthews earlier in the season came away with the win as he led every lap. Forget the track in which he led at, so excuse me. Currently he's running 15th, so it's not ideal for him currently. But generally week in, week out, usually shows some good speed. Right now he's just hanging on for 15th, battling an ill-handling race cars. He was loose out of 2. Came way up into turn 3, trying to get a straight drive out of 4. Still looks extremely loose. Go ahead and go with the 02 car. Andrew Wooden in the CN chassis Chevrolet. And he's kind of in no man's land. There's no one behind him, and that's too close. No one in front of him. Logging some laps, having a good run here. He qualified 10th. Currently 10th. So his plus minus is 0 here tonight, but that's not a bad thing at times, as he's ran a really good and clean race. Car looks good and straight. Good for him. Just behind him is Brandon Wilkinson. Started 15th here tonight, worked his way up to 11th place, just in front of Jared Boris. Once again, he's another guy. His car looks good, and he can be fast at times. And running 11th here tonight. And like I stated before, I mean, these races are extremely tough. Sometimes you have the same guys that are up front, but you'll have some fast guys that are off just a little bit. We're just running outside the top 10, it happens. So if you're off just a little bit, you're going to be finding yourself back here in 11th, maybe not where you want to be, especially for someone like Brandon Wilkinson, who is good, is extremely fast. Just doesn't have it here tonight, unfortunately, but still running really good in 11th place. Got the 60 car behind Jared. Keith Medeiros. He started 17th. He's up to 13th here tonight. And like I said, he's 10th in points, so he's still battling, trying to gain as many points as he can to stay into the top 10. Is finishing in the top 10 in the SARA Super Sim Series is always a thing that you can brag about. Not easy to do, to come up, show up 12 weeks, run consistent enough to finish to the top 10. 14th is Matt Bontippy. He started 22nd, he's up to 14, so he's done a great job here tonight, gaining positions. And his car's beat up a little bit on the right-hand side, showing some battle scars, but it's better to be beaten up on the right-hand side than it is on the left. It means you're passing cars. 16th is Dallas Pataska. We've touched on him just here a little bit. He started 18th, so he's up +2. That's good for him. It's another one of those guys that can show speed there at times. Michael Goddard just behind him, and Kyle Souza. 19th is James Milbacher. He was the one that had the caution as Russell Berry's looking down to the inside of him, coming out of 2. I believe he was the cause of our first caution. So he got a little help from Dallas Pataska getting into 3. As you can see, his car's straight for the most part. A little loose out of 2 as Russell Berry's going to look down to the inside of him. Into 1 is extremely close, not giving too much room. We'll stick here to these guys. As you can see, the leader catching up to him coming down the backstretch. So these guys know they got to go. Russell Berry gives him a little bit of the bumper and gets by him. As it's extremely tight coming out of 4 there once again. Guys are not playing nice with each other, but they know the leader is coming, as they cannot go a lap down. This is 61 gets a little bit of help from the 23 of Chris Shannon. He hangs onto it. Shannon goes down to the infield, and if you're Tom Majeski, he probably puckered up there a little bit, as that's the last thing you want to see is these guys wreck in front of you. Now Majeski's starting to lap down these guys. He's lapped down all the way up to 21st position, now up to 20th. That's allowed Ty Spearman to close back in on him a little bit, as it's 1.2 seconds. As Matt Eddy and James Milbacher are beating and banging on each other. Short track racing, you're going to have that. especially when you know you're trying not to go a lap down or trying to be the first car lap down if there is a caution. Spearman looks under James here, and so is Joe Schaefer Jr. We'll go back to the 23 car here in Chris Shannon. Like I said, we just showed him getting into James a little bit. Shannon just recently joined us, and that'll bring me to this point that if you want to try to come out here and qualify for the race, let alone race in the race, you can go to racesara.com, check out all the series that we run. We run the open wheel series on Monday night, which is the midget and 410s. And we run the UMP and super late model dirt cars on Tuesday nights. Wednesday nights is our street stocks on the pavement. Thursday nights, you're looking at a super late model series. So if you want to go and join and try out, try your hand at any of those series, go to racesara.com or go to the Facebook page at Sim Auto Racing Association and sign up. Come out here and try it. I think we had 38 cars trying to qualify here tonight. 29 made it. So, Shannon had a good qualifying run. Started 24th. Like I said, he hasn't been with us all season. He came out here and at least showed some decent speed and been able to run pretty clean. Go ahead and see. Yeah, as we got a good battle shaping up here for third, as what I stated not too long ago, if Schaefer Jr. couldn't get around Spearman, it's going to allow Matt Rolfe to catch up to him. We'll go to Matt Rolfe here, and let's go on board with him and see what kind of line he's turning, or kind of line he's taking down here around Stafford. As he's coming out of 2. Hear the car get on the chip a little bit, getting into 3. You see Schaefer Jr. down just a little bit lower than Matt on entry. Matt's able to square the entry up pretty good and get a good drive off. Go ahead and stay on board here with him. I'll go silent, turn it up a little bit. Let these engines roar. And I'm back. As you see Joe Schaefer Jr. get around Ty Spearman. Matt Rolfe goes down low and they touch. Oh, Spearman spins. Matt spins. Spearman's able to keep it going. That's a tough break for Matt Rolfe. As him and Ty Spearman get into it, going down into 3 and 4. Matt Rolfe is trying to get it pointed in the right direction. We'll have to go back and watch that replay, as you were pretty much on board when that happened. Eventually. We'll go back and watch that replay, and as you can see, Joe Schaefer Jr. getting down low, and Ty Spearman looks like Ty just finally let him go. That was on lap 126, and it was go time. See Matt go down low, and that's a tough call there. Not too sure if Matt was there, if Matt was maybe expecting Spearman to go up a little bit higher. If Spearman even maybe potentially pinched him down, I'm sure that'll get sent over for my review as far as the other SARA league admins as well to see how that goes. I'm not too sure if anyone claimed that one or not. Neither here nor there right now, as that's a tough break for both Ty Spearman and Matt Rolfe. Both those guys were in the top 5, and it actually looks like Spearman is still in the top 5 as he's running 4th. So tough break only for Matt Rolfe as he worked his way up. Back up, battling into the 3rd place spot there to try to get on the box for the podium. Now, who this does help out is Joe Schaefer Jr., as he'll be starting 2nd here on this restart. Helps him out in points as he got around Ty Spearman there, so he's going to gain a little bit more points. And currently Jimmy Mullis is 6th, so Joe Schaefer Jr. is looking to maybe get another spot, see if he can go ahead and make Ty Majeski get his 1 loss only here at Stafford. It'd be a great thing for Joe Schaefer Jr. to trim down that points lead, as currently he is technically 4 spots ahead of Jimmy Wallace. On lap 130 of 150, just 20 to go. There's definitely going to be no room given now once these guys double back up on this restart. You know, this could be another caution that comes out pretty soon. But Tom Majeski is currently your leader. He's gained 6 spots as he started 7th here tonight. He was your fastest qualifier, but due to the invert, got moved back. And he's led 80 laps here, now 81 laps. As we got 1 to go, we'll see how all this plays out. If you're Joe Schaefer Jr., you got to be pretty happy that your teammate's on the inside of you. You probably know when he's going to go green, and hopefully you get a good enough start where you can squeeze in between Tom Majeski and David Krikorian. But if David Krikorian's on his game, he's going to try to fill that spot, and you can't push too much for your Joe Schaefer Jr. as you're already making up points on Jimmy Mullis, and last thing you want is to be wrecked. We'll see what happens here as the control restart is on Tom Majeski. We are green, green, green as Majeski spun the tires just a little bit, it looked like. And here's Melee in the back. It looks like Tim Bills got crossed all up back there. He's able to keep it going in the right direction. Oddly enough, there's Bontippy's getting spun around. Ryan Matthews, they keep going. There's this bedlam everywhere. There's still no caution. Go back up here to Jimmy Mullis now in 5th. He's on the outside. He gained 1 position. He's going to be looking to gain more on Ty Spearman. Zach Novak looks down to the inside of him. We won't give him too much grief as Daryl Hamlin goes down into 3, and he gives a little bumper to Zach Novak. Great save by Zach Novak. Hamlin gives him plenty of room to gather it back up. Don't want to get EOL'd. Great driving by those 2 drivers. Daryl Hamlin will try to get him back here once again. Get it around him clean this time. They're coming to lap 135 of 150. Currently, Majeski's your fastest car on the track. No surprise there. The half a tenth faster than Joe Schaefer Jr. running in 2nd. Matt Rolfe's trying to work his way back up into the top 10 here once more. Trying to get around Brandon Wilkinson. Matt's probably driving with his head on fire. For all the league admins, or some of the league admins know, he's been in a mood today, so it's probably going to put him over the edge, but we'll see if he can work his way back up into the top 10. Maybe I'll show everyone that he did have one of the top cars. An unfortunate racing deal there with Ty Spearman. Probably yelling Negan in his car right now. Been great racing here tonight, as is to be expected with this series. Like I said, you have some of the fastest and best racers on the series, or on the sim here. Daryl Hamlin's looking down to the inside of Zach Novak. Once again, these guys are close. It looks like he touches Zach Novak a little bit in the middle of 3 and 4. They're still side by side as they go down into 1 and 2. Side by side coming out of 2 here, going down into 3. Where they keep touching just a little bit. Car tends to push up. They're on late entry into 3, almost in the center of 3 and 4. So it can happen at times, but they're staying off each other currently. Daryl Hamlin's trying to get into the 6th place spot. We're coming down to 9 to go. Currently, Tom Majeski's got 6/10 lead over Joe Schaefer Jr. This is the best battle on the track. Hamlin moves up. Looks like he might have him cleared coming down into 3. No, but Zach Novak battles back on the outside. Daryl Hamlin's coming down low. Going to end up at least having 6th place for this lap, but Zach Novak's not giving it up too easy. Meanwhile, Keith Metaros is closing in on these 2 guys. He thinks 6th spot sounds pretty good to him. He's going to give them both a little battle before too long. They're extremely tight coming out of 2. Hamlin's trying to give him tons of room coming out of the turn. Knows he's up on his door pretty good. Guys are still side by side. Feels like they've been side by side for 20 laps now. Down to 7 to go. Currently, your top 5 single file. It's for the 6th place spot. You wouldn't know it looking at the battle. You'd think it'd be for the win. Guys are battling hard. Novak bounces off the wall just a little bit. There's Keith Metaros right there on both their bumpers. Like Darrell Hammond's going to end up finally pulling in behind Novak. Novak held strong on the outside. Go back here to Matt Rolfe. Trying to work his way back into the top 10 after that, our last caution. They went back to 14th. Now he's up 10 to the top 10 currently. They end up trying to get around Jared for 9th. Be a heck of a comeback. Do as many laps as we had. Still battling. Brandon's not going to give it up to him too easily. Tim Bills maybe even trying to look on the outside of Brandon. Got 3 cars trying to battle into the top 10. Never a bad night if you can finish in the top 10 in this series, as there's 3 to go. Two to go. We'll go back up front here to Ty Majeski. Led 99 laps here tonight. Took over from Ty Spearman on lap. Coming to the white flag. Coming out of turn 2. Plenty of room in front of him, plenty of room behind him as he coasts down here into 3 and 4. Coming out of turn 4, your winner here tonight in the Oldskoolz Motorsports 150, Ty Majeski. Congratulations to Ty and coming in second, Joe Schaefer Jr. And that's the kind of night that you wanted right there. If you're going to finish second, it might as well be to your teammate. And furthermore, if you're going to finish second, you want Jimmy Mullis to finish many spots behind you. It wasn't too many, as Jimmy Mullis finishes 5th. David Krikorian was 3rd, Ty Spearman 4th. Like I said, Jimmy Mullis was 5th. So Joe Schaefer Jr. will gain some points on Jimmy Mullis here. And it's going to make the showdown at Lanier next week that much more exciting. You'll definitely have to come out and watch that as the 2 guys pull out into the front stretch. That's Posse 1-2. David Krikorian broke up that Posse 1-2-3 as he finishes 3rd. We've seen a great race here tonight. Great side-by-side racing all around. A few cautions, especially one late there. But that stuff happens when you're here on this short track. For these guys, like there was 3 cautions here tonight, 3 lead changes. We've seen all of those. Even with all of that action that happened, there was still 18 cars out of 29 that started here tonight that finished on the lead lap. That's saying something. So, there's a bunch of guys with some fast cars out here tonight. The fastest one of them all was Ty Majeski. Go ahead and bring up the results. Ty Majeski finishing 1st. Just a shade under 2nd was Joe Schaefer Jr. 3rd was David Krikorian. 4th, Ty Spearman. 5th, Jimmy Mullis. 6th, Zach Novak. 7th, Darrell Hamlin. Darrell Hamlin wasn't able to get around Zach Novak, so kudos to both those guys for staying off each other and still battling hard, and kudos to Zach Novak for keeping the 6th place spot. 8th was Keith Metaros. Good points night for him to keep him in the top 10 points. 9th was Jared Boris, and right out the top 10 was Matt Rolfe. Good for him. If they will make it back up into the top 10, I have to talk to him a little bit later on tonight to get his point of view on how everything went down there. Go ahead and go over to the next page. As 11th was Brandon Wilkinson. 12th was Tim Bills. 13th, Dallas Pataska. 14th, Kyle Souza. 15th, Michael Goddard. 16th, Russell Berry. 17th, Matt Bontippy. 18th, Ryan Matthews. 19th, Matt Eddy. Rounding out your top 20 here tonight was Chris Shannon. There you have it, guys. That was 150 laps at Stafford Motor Speedway in the Old School Motorsports 150 for the Sim Auto Racing Association Tundra Super Sim Series presented by Loco Toco Designs. The next week, the Sim Auto Racing Association will be at Lanier across all series, and it is the series finale as Joe Schaefer Jr. will try to close in the points even more. And come away with his 4th consecutive Super Late Model Series championship. And that is the HoddsPride.com Championship 200 on the Lanier Speedway. It's a night race, 200 laps. More than likely, it will not be a tire race. So kind of like how it was here tonight, you have to run on the tires that you started with. We'll see what happens with that race next week. This week, it was the Tom Majeski Show once again, as he led 101 laps here tonight. 100 laps here tonight. And come away with the dominating victory. He was your fastest qualifier here as well. With the invert, he started 8th. After lap 50, he took over the lead from Ty Spearman to come away with another victory. We'll go ahead and see if we can get a couple of these guys' interviews. We got David Kikoria. Let's go ahead and bring him in. He finished 3rd place here tonight. David Kikoria, DK, you had a good run here tonight, finishing on the podium. It looked like you got off to a decent start in 9th place. So why don't you tell us just a little bit how your race went from there after you started 9th?
Nah, we were just kind of riding around. We were hoping the changes we made would tighten the car up a little bit, and it didn't really do that much. So we were just kind of stuck at putt-putting the whole time for about half the race, and they just kind of came back to us.
Well, I mean, it kind of paid off there for you a little bit. You were able to gain a few positions there, or a couple positions there after Ty Spearman and Matt Rolfe got into it there in front of you as you escaped that little mess. But like I said, you had a good run here tonight. And next week we're at Lanier. So how do you feel about your chances next week about, putting it back on the boxes again?
Pretty decent. We won there last season, and I think the car will be kind of the same.
All right. Well, congratulations once again here tonight from finishing 3rd. Is there any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give?
Shout out WND, Tim and Donald. We kind of worked on this last minute with some kind of late minute changes in it. Wasn't perfect, but got the job done.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations to you, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
That was David Kikoria, and he finished 3rd here tonight. We'll go ahead and bring in the guy who's second in the point series, and finished 2nd here tonight. Also is Joe Schaefer Jr. Joe, we seen you here tonight. You qualified 4th, and due to the invert, you actually started 5th, but you fell back to 9th there, it seemed like, early on in the race. How'd you get back there, and then how'd you work your way back up to 2nd place?
Well, first of all, are you smoking over there in the SARA van? Because I started 10th tonight, Derek.
Well, wherever. Yeah, you did. You absolutely did. Well, I wrote it down wrong. So we were.
So yes. I kind of figured that Stafford was going to be one of those places where you had to make passes early and right after a restart. So that's when I tried to capitalize. And on that first restart, I think I was on the outside and I jumped around the 02 and then looked under the 40 on a restart. And then later on, Colin and Jimmy got to racing and got around Colin that way. And before I knew it, I was racing with Spearman for 3rd, and the car just never really went away from me. It was head grip kind of just right in the preferred groove all night, kind of where I figured it would start going away. But it was fine all night, which caught me by surprise.
Well, like I said, you finished off in 2nd place here. You gained some points on Jimmy Mullis, who finished 5th, so that's good to see for if you're a Joe Schaefer Jr. fan. We're at Lanier next week, and how do you think you'll fare there? As that track always brings up great action, and the track ends up widening out if we get a lot of green flag racing, which we've had over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be I hope nothing. I hope nothing happens on the track to either Jimmy or myself, because I think it's going to be about 18, 15 points between us going into the final week. Just lately here in the last couple weeks, we've had a rebuild on how our setup philosophy is. So I'm sure I'll have the full mind of Ty Majeski at my disposal for setups next week, which will be nice.
Well, it is always good to have him there as a teammate and in your back pocket, per se. But congratulations there on second place, and we'll keep an eye out on you next week to see how all this championship plays out as we have 200 laps at Lanier. Before I send you on your ways, are there like things or shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I want to thank Charlie at the Button Box Shop, Cody at Loco Toco Designs, and also everybody at the Posse.
All right, brother. Well, congratulations here again for finishing second, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, and that's Joe Schaefer Jr. Like I said, we'll have to keep an eye on him for next week as him and Jimmy Mullis will battle it out for the championship. But currently, it's all about this guy right here, Ty Majeski. Came away with the win here tonight in dominating fashion. Congratulations, Ty. We've seen that you qualified fastest here tonight, almost a tenth faster than anyone else. And then due to the invert, it knocked you back there a little bit on the start. But you took over on lap 50, tracking down Ty Spearman. And then after that, looked like you're on cruise control. But getting to that point, how'd your race go up to that point before you got around Spearman?
Yeah, the biggest thing about Stafford is, obviously as the run goes on, the group gets warmer and loses grip. So it's really crucial to kind of get your track position early on, either in the beginning of the race or early on after a caution, just because once that bottom or preferred groove heats up, it becomes really hard to pass because guys can hold you off on the outside, just like you saw Colin Allman do to me. So I was just trying to take advantage of the short runs, A, in the beginning of the race, and B, quickly after a caution, and that's how I passed the majority of the cars I did tonight.
Yeah, we've seen you work your way up through there fairly easy, and Matt Rolfe spoke on it on the pre-race, and then I touched on it a little bit as well during the race. You're currently for SARA races, you're undefeated here at Stafford. So what is it about this place that just completely agrees with you or your driving style?
I've always liked this place. Stafford is always one I circle on the SARA calendar. I always try and make it. It's just been one of my favorite racetracks for a long time in iRacing, and I just have a good knack for how to make a setup right here for, especially on the long run, and it just kind of suits my driving style.
All right. Well, like I said, congratulations to you here once again. Next week we'll be at Lanier Speedway. Will we catch you there, or will you be busy otherwise?
I got Bristol next week, and so we'll head up Thursday night. So unfortunately, I won't be able to make it back for Lanier, but wish all the competitors good luck, and it should be a good battle between Joe and Jimmy. So everyone tune in. All
right. And before we get you on your way, is there any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, just everyone on the posse. It's everyone thinks that we all run the same setups, and we don't. Joe and Ty ran kind of their own deal tonight, and I ran my own deal, and it's crazy how we can kind of both go our own ways and still get to the same point. I mean, we were pretty much the same speed all night, and I just was fortunate enough to have the track position. So just a shout out to those guys. We share ideas and stuff, but we're still able, plenty capable, each of us, of building our own setup. So that's one thing that's unique about our team, and I think it's what kind of gives us the edge on everybody.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations on your big win here tonight, and good luck with you next week there at Bristol.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. And that's your winner here tonight, and Ty Majeski. He's your all-time winning SARA wins leader. I believe that makes it 79 here now, if I'm not mistaken. And like I said, if you're like NASCAR racing, he will be at the Bristol race running the number 60 car for Roush Fenway Racing at Bristol. So keep an eye on that. And like I said, after that as well, or before that, make sure you tune in to next week at SARA TV for the HoddsProds.com 200 championship race at Lanier Speedway, as it will be a battle between Joe Schaefer Jr. and Jimmy Mullis. But will one of those guys come out as the winner of the race and win the championship, or neither? And we have a new winner next week. You'll have to come back and tune in and watch yourself. As here tonight, congratulations once again, and Tom Majeski in winning the Oldskool Motorsports 150 and the Tundra Super Sim Series presented by Loco Toco Designs. For everyone else, you all have a great night. See you next Thursday.